everybody. Welcome to Pure Cringe, the podcast for everybody who likes to cringe at all things Bravo. My name is Maria, and I'm here with my lovely co-host, Michelle. How the hell are you, Michelle?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. We have to make sure to erase footage, Michelle.
Yes, we're talking about terrible things.
Yes,
Terrible.
being very, very fresh, when what we really need to talk about is the train wreck that is ahead of us. So we are smack dab in the middle. Believe it or not, it feels like we're still, well, actually, we're, I guess, heading towards the tail end, even though tonight's episode 6, is called the finale.
Right, that confused me. Yeah.
Yes, this is the Real Housewives of New Jersey rewatch/recap series we are calling Feels Like the First Time. And tonight's episode is called Finale, although there are, I believe, 4 more episodes after this. And we'll have to figure out if we want to recap them all, because I think one is a lost footage episode, and we'll have to see like how cool that is. That might be,
I think that's like the next episode looks like a lost footage, I think.
Yeah, that might be a mini-sode, or maybe we can talk a little bit about that, but
or combine it. We could maybe. I don't know.
Oh, totally. And then we have a couple of reunions, which are going to be very juicy. But basically tonight's episode, I mean, I hate to say this, I hope I don't mean to be too on the nose with it, but like this is literally the thing that kicks off all of the, we'll call it violence on Housewives. This is really the first time we're seeing someone really lose control of themselves.
Yeah, like Teresa was fucking born.
Yeah,
she came out of the fucking dinosaur egg, and she was born, and she just created the monster. She did. Yeah,
totally. This is, to your point, what we're going to be expecting going forward from Teresa, this type of behavior, and we're going to get it. But this particular episode is, it's pivotal, not only in this particular series, but like in Housewives sort of lore and legend, right? I hate to say it. I mean, if this is like, this is the return of the king, right? In the Lord of the Rings series. So Michelle, I have a very small notebook. I don't know. What do you use to take notes? I'm curious. Do you take notes?
Yeah, I have like this, like one of these like composition books, these guys.
Oh, so it's like sort of almost standard size, right?
Yeah. But see, I write like very big. It's very big. I don't use all the lines.
Oh, I can't. I couldn't read it when I was 16, so I definitely can't read it now.
Well, I'm still learning. Yeah. Okay.
How many pages of notes do you have for this episode? Curious.
Like 3.5. There was not much to say.
So, and I have a very small, like Midori traveler size notebook situation here. And so I have one. Oh my gosh, you guys, 10 pages.
What the fuck did you write about?
Well, I have a lot of thoughts, and I have a lot of things that I'm going to ask you.
Oh, okay.
And some things that I'm going to be asking our friends, other than your sister, who are listening, and your sister and my cousin Deb, who are and Nurse Feeney, who are our super fans. But so I have a lot of shit to say, and I have a lot of questions to ask you. So I hope you are buckled up and have had enough wine.
Okay, we just got to sip in here.
I was gonna say, this shit's gonna be on. So yeah, I do have a ton of notes, but jump in at any point. So I have a ton of questions for you. So also too, feel free to tell me to shut up, because it's probably gonna feel like an interview, because I have no taste, as we have determined before, and there's a lot of house stuff going on here.
Oh yeah,
that I'm gonna need your opinion on, because I'm at a loss.
It made me sweat. I have to be honest with you.
Yeah, we started Teresa's house, which is probably the most sweat-inducing.
Yeah.
And that's when Dina and Lexi are arriving with gifts for the new house.
Yeah.
I secretly, and I know that you're gonna cringe at this, and I apologize. I mean, please don't be offended. I really think I love the front door, though.
With the bird heads?
What is that? I don't know. I thought it was wings.
I think they're bird heads. I thought they were wings too, but then I kept pausing it. I think they're bird heads, like eagle heads.
The big long pieces on the door?
Yes, if you look at the pieces that come towards the center, they're like a beak. But maybe they're not. Maybe it's like a highly interpretive thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. But I I need to know what it is, actually. Someone needs to
Yeah.
tell me.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a little research on that one because
Yeah.
I thought they were wings. There's something about that. They looked almost like almost like a modern interpretation of wings for me for some reason.
Yeah.
But Dina comes with her Louis Vuitton tray,
Yep.
bringing bread as you do,
Hmm.
and
And
they have,
salt.
and salt because it's an Italian thing, she says.
It's
And then
not, the Polacks do it too.
I was just gonna say, I'm like, I
Yeah.
feel like this might be a
Doesn't every
cross
fucking
cultural.
European, yeah. Really.
It probably is something where it's every European. And this is what this part cracks me up. And do you want to talk about this a little bit? Because this is when Teresa and Dina go on the tour of the house.
Yeah.
And of course, Dina loves everything, which means it's hideous.
Right. It means it's beige.
Right.
It's beige and brown and echoes a lot.
There's Saint Laurent. Is that tile? Or is that what that she says?
Is it Saint Laurent onyx?
Marble? Oh, is it onyx?
I don't know. The floors? What are the floors?
Oh, I think they are onyx because that's when Dina says she has onyx out her ass.
Yeah.
See, you got the onyx out your ass, which should have been the episode title.
Onyx out your ass, yeah.
Yeah, don't you think? That would have been so good. And then they go to the wine cellar where Joe makes his own wine. I'm so confused.
The Red Devil room with that was really smelly. It probably smelled like mold. I've been in wine cellars, like where they make store
really?
cava. Yeah, and you had to go down an elevator many, many floors, and it was just musty, and kind of everyone that was down there with the sort of cough.
I don't understand this. Can you help me figure this one out?
It's
nobody lives there yet. They don't live there yet.
But he's making his wine.
But he's
I
already
Love Lucy making his fucking tubs of wine, right? With
stomping
the grapes, yeah.
How long has he been there? What is he doing? Squatting at the fucking place making wine at night? The creepy bastard?
That's what I thought.
Michelle, I've never been in a wine cellar, but I was imagining what the smell was. And in my mind, it was like a mixture of vinegar and Dracar Noir. It was just disgusting. That was what I was imagining, because that's what I imagine Joe smells like. I think that's what Joe smells like.
Oh, Dracar Noir? Yes. Yeah. And a lot of it.
And then
he's got it on subscription.
Well, I think he has it on subscribe and save.
Yeah.
He gets it from Amazon.
Yeah.
He gets that extra 15%. That's very important to him. He gets it because he's having it shipped to Italy. So the weird part is then, and I didn't realize this, Michelle, when tell me that I don't know if you noticed this. Teresa and Dina walk outside and they have glasses and this carafe situation with red wine.
But how far did they walk? Where did they go? What the fuck? And did I hear a fountain?
Yes. So there's a huge fountain to Teresa's left in the shot. Huge, like you're driving past a DoubleTree.
Okay.
It was unbelievable. And then when I looked, I was like, how fucking far away is this house? I'd have to say it's a quarter of a mile. What do you think?
Because the thing is, they're sitting. So I didn't catch the fountain. I just heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
it's there.
I didn't get, but I sort of presumed it must be there, right? But yeah, so I know they walked out this driveway that's not done. And it was a long driveway, and then the grass was far away, and I don't know.
Fucking passed out. When I realized, I was like, did they really walk a quarter of a mile? It was probably more like an eighth, maybe an eighth, but to try to figure out where they could find the best shot where they could drink wine and also have the chateau in the back, which of course that's what they did. And
Can
so
I ask you a question about that though? Sorry, that's the size of the house. That's a big fucking house to keep clean.
I have to assume she had help. We don't ever see that, which is unusual, but we don't ever see that. Most of the time you would see if there was someone who's live-in, but maybe they have somebody who comes, but that house always looks clean.
They're up on ladders all day, fucking dusting the vaulted ceilings, and I can't even imagine. I mean, it's
the house is just gorge. Really.
And then you have to have someone in there all the time in your shit cleaning.
I would assume. I mean, honestly, I hate to think about it. I'm her parents lived there for a bit. She had to have had people clean. Yeah, we just don't see it. I'm just going to make that assumption because there's no way with 4 kids. No, absolutely no way. Especially with the the schedule that Gia has as the rising star that she is.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So Teresa and Dina are sitting there having red wine, inexplicably a mile away from the house.
Mm-hmm.
And Teresa wants to have a party. And she wants to have I love this. When she said it, I just went, huh? It's like that movie I was telling you about that I watched the other night that like had someone who had been living in Mexico for like 20 years, but like inexplicably didn't understand a word of Spanish. It's like Teresa is not even in her house yet and she wants to have a housewarming party. And I just
Yeah,
want to go,
there's no
no,
there's no
wait, like
furniture. There's a
we're not
couch
there
for
yet.
people to sit on. Yeah.
We're not there yet. Like you don't live there yet. When you live there, that's when you have a housewarming party.
Yeah.
I was
So
like,
then she
so
says in lieu of that, because she doesn't really have
yeah. So
furniture
yeah.
and stuff, so she wants to have a nice dinner out.
Yeah, and they go to, and she wants to invite everyone, including Danielle. And then, of course, Dina whines and is like, why does she have to be a part of our lives? And I'm like, bitch, because you're on a fucking show with her, though? Like,
Yeah.
because you're literally on the show because you're getting
Yeah.
paid?
She signed up for it.
And then we go to Danielle, and this is, I mean, listen, Danielle is the entire show for me. If there's no Danielle, there's no laughs, right? Danielle brings out pictures of her modeling days to show the girls because
I want to know what the fuck was in those pictures. The expression on their faces. Was she in labor, giving birth? What the fuck?
I think
was
she had
doing?
to have been naked. I have to assume that she was like mostly with her clothes off.
Naked on a pole? I mean, like the look on their faces. Wow.
They were horrified. They were horrified. She was like, literally like she was showing her yearbook.
Yeah.
She was incredibly proud of these. And she said something about all my children and something about something else, maybe One Life to Live. And like, as if she was on these shows. You know, I hate to say it, but like, she talks about her modeling days fucking like she was Linda Evangelista. She's like, you know, you really had to sell it when it was cold. You had to make it look warm and inviting. And it's just gross because I don't know, because to your point, the daughters look horrified and it feels very contrived.
Yes.
Right? Like it feels it's 100% like just for a reason for them to be together so that you can then have a moment to tell them about the book. Yeah. I'm doing air quotes for you, those of you that aren't actually looking at Michelle and I. So Danielle tells us that Teresa invited her to the party. And then this is a situation where for the 5th time, I mean, I feel like honestly we should have a drinking game throughout this whole series, that every time Jacqueline mentions the fact that like either she doesn't want to choose between Danielle and her family or that she's neutral, you should drink. Because she says it again. Let's remind us again. She's neutral with everyone.
Well, what's funny is she says that she gets this invite, and then Danielle says, "And I'm going to accept." And I'm thinking to myself, "Yeah,
and you're being paid, girlfriend.
Yeah, you're getting paid, and you know you should be fucking happy that you can go somewhere in public. Nobody wants you."
Well, yeah, I'm just surprised. Yeah, it's just I think that's her like self-awareness situation, right? Like she has no like real awareness of the fact that like she isn't really part of this group other than the fact that they are all on this show together.
No, she's not. But when we get there, I have a lot to say about she's part of it in her way that she has a very specific agenda.
Yes, and I can't wait to hear that.
And she's got to fucking fulfill that. And it's, you know, I don't know. Yeah, she's
she's like a juggernaut, and it's like she can only move in that one forward direction. She's, she's like a broken rook in chess. Just goes forward. Just goes forward.
Just forward.
Time moves forward. So we go to Jacqueline's house, and Jacqueline's parents pull up in a fucking massive, like
a really nice trailer, right?
So Michelle,
does he drive that? Does that man drive that?
I was gonna say that old motherfucker drives. I mean, let's say what, over 100,000 for this enormous RV, right?
It's gorgeous. Yeah.
I mean, it's stunning. I have to ask you, I'm curious. So you and I just got back from a road trip. What do you think about the idea of RVing? Like, have you been in an RV? Do you like RVing?
I think I've been in an RV. I think I've definitely have friends who've had RVs. I've never gone on an RV trip. I've always wanted to. But the problem is the driving thing. I can't imagine like carting that thing around. I'd want to like hire somebody to drive for me.
I'll drive. I just need you to find someone, aka Brian, your husband, to come and empty out all the pee and the poop from the gray tank.
Then there's that.
That's the part I can't.
You know about that. You know more about that because you pointed out some sort of special piece on the back of a ladder that had a story. and I
Yeah,
didn't like that.
it's a I don't know what it's called, but it's a small little trolley thing that when you can't get your very large RV to a like a dump site in an RV site, you can empty some of your gray tank, which is all the wastewater. And you can empty that right into this little trolley thing and wheel it over and then
That's right,
pump it
wheel your
out.
shit.
Yeah,
Right.
you're wheeling your shit
Right.
around.
So you just it's just more opportunity to be near shit.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that stops me, other than the fact that I don't have $100,000 for that kind of an RV.
Uh-huh.
But no, honestly, I am terrified of having to do anything with the tank. Like I can see myself being the kind of person that just drives an RV and then like never uses the bathroom, like
Yeah.
is constantly pulling over.
We're gonna pull over at a gas station so you can take a dump.
Seriously, like I'm not going to be able
Pee
to
out the
use the
window, right?
bathroom. I don't know how I'll live. I'll drive. I could drive all day, all night, but I cannot. I don't know. Because I've seen too many like RVing videos where they're like showing you something and then all of a sudden, and it's usually somebody who's RV'd like their whole fucking lives, and they literally like misalign the pipe and all the stuff happens and all the all the gunk comes out and it's gross. And I'd have to kill myself. I'd be forever unclean. So I just
Forever unclean. You'd be like a
for
gypsy who talked to like regular people, forever unclean.
I am forever. It's like from the TV show The League, forever unclean. It is decided. Yeah, so I can't do it. I just can't.
So do you think that old guy, like,
I
did the
do.
shit tank?
I think Jerome Grip, retired colonel. I do. I think he's probably full of piss and vinegar, and I bet you he drove that whole thing.
Yeah.
I bet you that dude. I bet you he was amazing. I bet you
Yeah.
he was dangerous, and aggressive with that thing. But that is a gorgeous RV. So you do like RVing, so that's cool. Yeah, I like it in theory, but I'm just not sure about it in practice.
Yeah, the other thing that scares me though is like, when you go to like a campground, so that you can like hook up,
Yeah.
is that you have to be around people. And that really scares me.
Yes, and there's like weird politics
Oh,
around that too.
yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and you have to kind of conform to that.
And I'm
Yeah.
not into that. Like I'm into just sort of like rolling on my own and
I like
yeah.
the boondocking thing. Have you heard of that? Where you have like enough in your tank, you have enough water, you have enough solar heat, you do solar heat and whatever, so that you can go into the wilderness and you don't have to be with other people. They call it boondocking.
What if there's like a bear?
Well, then you got to hope that you have a gun. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or that you're friends with Teresa Judice. Either way.
Right.
Either
Right. Well, there's this great Instagram where there's like someone like recorded like a bear who plays on her kid's swing.
Like that.
So you just bring a swing and put it in a tree.
You
bear
just
wants to swing on
you
it.
just bring a bag of Cheetos and then you throw
In a
it
swing,
one way
right.
and then you run the other way. That's all you do.
The bear
That's
will
all you
not
do.
bother you.
Well, I'll tell you, if you have the fucking RV that Jacqueline's parents have, you don't have to worry about it because a bear can't even. I don't even think they could get in. That thing is like
It was pretty
it's like
serious. Yeah.
it's like a bullet.
Yeah.
So her parents and Ashley later are in the kitchen in the next scene after they sort of come
In the beige kitchen. Yeah.
in the beige. I mean, everybody's kitchen looks the same. So Jacqueline has a really cute scene actually with her family here. I don't know if you loved this. I thought this was really cute. It was a filler, of course, but she talks to her dad and her mom about Botox.
And
it was
her lip filler. Yeah.
yeah, and it was kind of snooze-worthy, but like they have a cute relationship. The mother goes, "It's poison. It'll go through your system and go into your brain."
It does, and then you stop frowning. It's awesome.
I was just like, yes, but in the meantime, all these other things will happen.
Yeah.
So she sends Jacqueline sends Ashley outside with CJ because she wants to talk to her parents. She says that she wants to talk to them a little bit about Ashley's car, the whole situation with that. I hate to say it, but it's one of those things where, Ashley did well in summer school, but apparently she's still being kind of a bitch. And her attitude sucks, which we saw actually last week in that photo shoot.
Yeah,
which was so
cringy.
that was so fucking painful to watch. And so her father says, and I mean, I spoiler alert agree that Jacqueline should not give her the car, but should just like give her the keys and sort of control them.
When necessary. Say like it's you come to me for keys, it's available for you to use. Yeah.
So you agree?
Yeah, I mean, my parents didn't just give me a set of keys and say, have at it. I mean, it was like I had to ask. They always said yes. I still had to ask.
Yeah.
And I wasn't an asshole. Maybe I was.
You're so nice. Yeah, my parents just bought me a car the day I got my license.
Oh yeah, yeah. There was like still some control. My mother really, she went to her deathbed still in control. She thought so. Anyway, she was gonna lose that.
Well, it's one of those things where I feel like it's I feel bad about Ashley, and I feel like she's doing well now, and that's great. But I feel like she is like just textbook one of those people that when you give them too much, they are in it, of course, you're putting them in a position where they're going to they're going to fuck it up. Like to give her free reign would be to set her up to fail, I think.
Yeah, so you're not setting them up for success. Totally. Yeah. No, I agree. I thought there was a really cute scene here though where is it Chris who's Jacqueline's husband? She Ashley refers to him as dad.
Yes, in the next scene she calls him dad.
Is that the next scene?
Yeah, and
wait, did I skip a scene? Oh yeah.
You did. You skipped.
Sorry.
You know what you skipped? You skipped two of the most important scenes, Michelle. So, spoiler alert, guys. If you've watched this,
these next fillers.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, right? Michelle, let's just fucking own it right now. Every scene until we get to the restaurant is a filler scene. This entire episode is just meant to get us to the scene at the restaurant.
I thought like the Teresa scene in the beginning was legit at her house.
Yeah, but that sets up the whole restaurant.
And I seriously have filler written next to every other scene.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean the next scene, we're gonna go over this really quick because we're gonna spend so much time probably on the last scene in the episode. So the next one is Dina and Lexi at Dina's house with about 90 garbage bags.
Full of stuffed animals. Yep.
What the fuck? This kid just collects. So a couple of things here. There's an egregious amount of stuffed animals. Where is she getting the money for the stuffed animals? Who is buying her stuffed animals? Second, when she opened that dresser drawer full of candy, like that wasn't a nightstand drawer. That was a full dresser drawer. That's a fucking lot of candy. Where is this candy coming from? How much candy on Halloween do kids get? Enough to fill a dresser drawer?
Yeah, you'd be surprised.
Serious? Oh my God. I
But
want
you
to go
see,
trick-or-treating
if
again.
you have parents like Brian and Michelle, we eat half the candy and don't tell them. Like we just eat it on the way and then we're very sick all night.
I was just going to say, like, maybe I should go with them because
no,
really good.
We want the candy.
I'd be like, I'm very good at eating the candy. When I saw the candy, it was mostly fucking Skittles. Which I don't want unless they're freeze dried, obviously.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was, I mean, it was just a stupid scene. I think what it was setting up to is Dina trying to like make the case for her retiring, and again, air quotes on that.
Yeah.
From her life as a, again, air quotes, designer of some kind. And then the next scene is Caroline, whose accent is just over the top.
It is.
And Albert, who, if he isn't in the mafia, I don't know who fucking is. And Atlas, their German Shepherd puppy. Apparently Al was uncomfortable with Caroline being home alone so much because he works so many hours, or many odd hours, which makes me think, what kind of odd hours are there in the function hall business?
But doesn't she work a lot too?
No, she works there mostly. Yeah. And so we see some strange protection training. And honestly, like, whenever I see that, I understand that some dogs are trained to do that. Yeah. Totally get it. I would not want that dog in my house.
No, and what my understanding of when you have dogs like trained to that level, that you need to like every 6 months do that training again, so that they understand the boundaries between what the training is, and because otherwise they'll just regress and they'll just start ripping everybody's arm off.
Well, that's the thing, and I feel like I don't want to. I mean, and spoiler alert for those, again, for if you're not the 3 people I mentioned before who actually know me, I have an enormous dog, Casey Jones, who is 120 pounds. And if I thought for a second that he was even capable of doing something like that, Casey's such a goober, he wouldn't even know what to do, And so I don't know. Whenever I see dogs do that, I'm like, I don't know that I want that dog in my house if that's my dog. Once it's learned that, it scares me.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just Yeah, it's
And
weird.
it's weird how she describes the need for it. So did you hear her say, like,
come and get me?
we're kind of known. Yeah, these fucking people. We're kind of known. She's like, we're kind of known in the local area, and it might be friends of friends, things can happen. And then she says, and I wrote this down because just the phrasing of it, it sounds it sounds like it has to be like a script, or it has to be from like a comedy. She says, if someone attempts to have any kind of altercation with me, like I really like attempts to have an altercation where you're just trying to use, she was just trying to use every Scrabble word she could think of, every high point Scrabble word. She's bring it on, which
That's
again,
her
like,
mantra, right? Bring it on.
well, that's her. Yeah, that's what makes me honestly think that they are somehow connected.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean? Because she just has this. I mean, they're very defensive. I mean, I hate to tell you, Michelle, I know a lot of people who, own like businesses and who have lots of money who don't feel the need to have a guard German Shepherd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, so it just seems odd. I don't know. Maybe there's something we don't know. We boomerang right back to Jacqueline's very brown house
Mm-hmm.
with Jacqueline, her parents, and Ashley in the kitchen. The phone rings, and it's Chris asking them to come outside. Ashley whines, of course, and is last to come out. And Chris drives up in the car. And I feel like, I don't know. I feel like, again, it's a little too soon for her to have it, but it's,
Well,
I
he's
feel like,
had it for like a month in the warehouse, right? So
yeah, it's been sitting
he's
there.
dying to give it to her. Yeah.
And he's so cute. So Ashley starts crying. Sweetness ensues. She hugs Chris. She calls him dad.
Yeah. I think that's really sweet.
And then I realized that, they've been together, Jacqueline and Chris, for probably 7 or 8 years, because CJ is like, I think 6 or 7.
Yeah.
So Ashley was probably very young. She's probably 8 or 9.
Yeah.
So she sees him as her dad, which is really cute. And Chris is just so sweet. He gives her a hug. Jacqueline starts to talks about the rules. Chris says it's in his name. And they hope that it'll be an incentive to work hard in school. Chris says he doesn't want her to take it away from her, but if she pushes him, he will.
Mm-hmm.
And then she says something stupid about her Facebook status. And I wanted to say to you, do you remember when like people cared about your Facebook status? Remember that?
I do remember. Yeah.
When it was like a thing that you had to update and like people gave a fuck, like,
yeah.
like Michelle Barchikowski is having a great dinner at Chili's. Like,
yeah. I honestly think that's one of the things that back in the day when I just really pulled away from Facebook, I was like, I don't give a shit that you're having a great dinner at Chili's, or that I don't care about your status. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean,
see, I like to be by myself, Maria. I just can't handle anyone.
It's hard. And yeah, it's so funny to me. I love seeing this. Like, she's like, I can't wait to say, Ashley Holmes has a car. And I thought to myself, oh my God, remember that when something like that happened, you would post about it. Yeah, love it, love it, love it. Another boomerang with Dina, Caroline, and Lexi out to dinner.
Yeah.
Lexi all of a sudden looks like she's 16. She's had her hair done. So Dina starts off by talking about, and this is what I was mentioning before with the setup, I think, for this, which is, I'm not cut up for the business world at all. I'm just mostly bubbies. I'm bubbies on a stick. She says it's taking away from what she enjoys doing, which is being a hideous homemaker. She loves being home and keeping it terrifying. She's in a good place professionally, but it's interfering with her home life. So she's leaning towards staying at home. She feels like she's losing time with Lexi that she can't get back. That I get.
Yeah,
I totally get that, and that's her only child. And I do feel like that stuffed animals / hoarding situation with the fucking Skittle candy scenario did really kind of serve as a wake up call for her.
I think so, right? Because she's got all this shit, right? So there's nobody watching her kid. Do all this stuff.
And and then we have this gross cut in with Lexi, where, because Dina starts saying that, like, she can't believe it that she's actually getting bubbies.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's this whole little
stop talking about tits on this show, please.
Oh my God. I mean, you would not be doing that today. But did you see the insert with Lexi talking about how she actually says, you can't stop me from growing up. Mine are real. She's just
mine are real.
I was like, oh my God, I wanted to throw it. I actually had a koosh ball in my hand that I almost threw at the TV.
Oh, that's funny.
I don't care what anybody says. Waldo was annoying me in this episode. So,
well, we're such mean girls, Maria.
Yes. Yeah. You don't know. Please. We kid because we love. So then Caroline is funny because she literally says to Dina, like, what are you gonna she goes, what are you gonna do all day? How many more? Buy more, and I'm thinking to myself, like, buy more porcelain birds. How many flower arrangements can you do?
Well, what's so funny is Caroline of all people should talk, because Caroline fucking micromanages her entire house. Remember, like, those early scenes where she's
That's
like
her
tying the ties? Job. I mean, so I'm sorry, but what is there to do? I mean, Caroline, I don't know how you work and micromanage at the same time. I don't know. I think you go to work, but like don't do much.
It's weird how this is cut, because I feel like there are points where Caroline sounds like she is saying to retire, and sometimes where I think she isn't.
Yeah. And then she's like, so don't let anybody,
Yeah, well, I don't want you to regret it.
Yeah, but don't let anybody tell you what you should do. So at any rate, in the kind of business that Dina's in, it's always there, and she could just go back to it. So, you have to find a way to, if you have kids and you want to be with them, you can't really, you just have to put your foot down for a few years and enjoy that.
Yeah. And she says she loves being a homemaker, so she officially retires.
Yeah, and now somebody's going to vacuum. She's going to vacuum under her kid's bed herself, not the cleaner. So she's going to find out all sorts of things that Lexi has under that bed.
I have to say, I'm glad we're not doing season 2, because I do not want to see what her house looks like when she has the time to fuck around with it for real. I don't want to see, because it can get worse.
Animal prints.
Yes, things can get worse, and I just don't want to be. I haven't signed up for that, Michelle. I mean, it's pure cringe. It's not total cringe. You know what I mean? Like, they're only paying us for the pure cringe. We only make the medium-sized bucks. So when this is done, we are sort of building. Momentum is now building, everybody, towards the actual final scene. So we go to Danielle's house, and she and her daughters are getting ready, and they leave. And then it's a montage of the ladies driving to dinner.
Yep.
And which I thought was really weird. I was trying to figure out if I could tell if it was like different montages from different days, or if this was a situation where they were really like, that was Teresa that night.
Right.
That was Dina that night.
I was wondering that too. Yeah.
Probably not. But it's interesting. They all arrive, and it's the Manzo clan and the Judices go in, and they go inside, and they all start to mingle. And instantly, I mean, I would say, and honestly, Michelle, this is 6 episodes. So it's not like I'm saying this after the first episode or the third episode. A percentage of the time that these people are on camera is them talking about tits. Would you not agree?
And then there was like,
it's a storyline
about,
it's like New York and Sex in the City.
Joe wants to have sex, but she can't, ride him because her tits hurt. She just had them done, and then he can't get on top of her because her tits hurt. And I'm just like, I just said, tits, stop it, stop.
Well, and there's, I mean, it all begins with just basic gushing over Teresa's boobs, her new boobs. I have to say, I thought she looked great. I thought her,
good. Yep.
I mean, she has an amazing body, and I thought she looked beautiful in that green dress. So everybody's going. So Dina buys her lingerie. Jacqueline comes over and is like, "Oh, I love them," and they're sort of gushing over them. And then Joey G, fucking Juicy Joe, asks Albie and Chris if their mother's tits are real.
Only he would ask, right?
I love this. He has, I mean, what are the fumes that he is smelling in the wine cellar? Now it's starting to make sense.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Who the fuck says that? Like, it's funny because
that's where he grows his brass balls. Yeah, for sure. Oh
my God. When I was watching this, it was so funny to me because it really felt like a family thing that I could relate to, that like mingling scene when they first get there, like the hugs and the, oh, and you look good, and so it was funny. The only thing that I couldn't relate to was like, the fact that like I don't have a Juicy Joe in my family that would say something so stupid. I will say it really does. It feels like a holiday at my house. Were holidays like this at your house? We had massive shit going on at my house.
Yeah, they were. I mean, until they all died. But yeah, no, they were. Actually, I have a funny story. There was there was a time when like I really wanted like breast implants. I was very skinny. I was like 120 pounds, and and so I had like no boobs, and I must have been like 30, 31 around there. And I remember being at this like big party, some holiday party, and like begging my parents, "Can I please have fake boobs? Can I please? Can I? You just
What did
get
they
me
both
implants?"
say?
They were like, "Are you joking?" Like, no. Of course, my dad didn't say anything. He just like looked at me and then like looked down, and
Just gonna say,
like at
would
the
he want to
floor.
talk about your tits?
No, but like I was like that. I was like a real, I would just say anything, and my mother was like, and of course, like my sister was like, "Oh, just get them for her. She wants them." And at any rate,
I am
I
surprised you didn't get them.
yeah, I didn't. My mother just said, "Michelle, you see that nice bra you have on right now? You just keep buying those bras." It was like the push-up bra, and then she said, "Look, I'm not going to tell you how your life is going to go, but I could tell you that they have a mind of their own, and they're probably going to keep growing. If you decide you're going to have kids, they're just going to get bigger and bigger all on their own." So, and she was right. Bitch was right. Anyhow.
Yeah, I can't even imagine implants. I just can't.
No, like
But
thinking about it now, like I'm really grossed out thinking like I don't know that I could
sometimes
go
they
to
just look
sleep.
so bad.
Yeah, but
They
I
j-
don't know if I could function having those in my body. I just don't know. I get a feeling and I get freaked out.
yeah, there's just something about it. Like I worry too about so many bad ones that you see.
Hmm.
Like Teresa looks fabulous, and the size is great. She's proportional. She doesn't look creepy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She doesn't look like a stripper.
But they're not
Um,
forever. I mean, they almost
no,
everybody has to get them done again
they're
at
not
some
like
point.
diamonds. They're not like diamonds.
No.
No, I'd rather actually, now that we're saying this, I'd rather have diamonds. But yeah, like so I have to tell you, the funniest thing here is that when they all move to the dining room and they show the different tables, did you catch that? Like the idea that there was the kids
The
table
kids' table
and
and
then the
like
adults
and
table.
poor Ashley was like with the
I was at the kids table
until
for
how long?
so long, Michelle. So until my parents got divorced.
Are you kidding?
Because my cousins, so like my cousin Deb, who's like I said, one of the three people who's listening, she and her brothers would have been there at the adult table probably. And even if they weren't, all of Uncle Frank's kids, Uncle Frank, my Aunt Jean, uh, all of their kids. So I have six cousins there. My mom, my dad, my grandmother. Like, there's no room. So I was at the kids' table until my parents got divorced, because then I assumed my father's seat at the head of the table.
So
It was very Game of Thrones. Now that
what other
now
kids?
that
I know, right?
and then I killed my Uncle Frank and I assumed his seat at the head of the table. I put his head on a spike.
For all to see and smell.
No, no shade. Love Uncle Frank. But no, I just loved seeing the kids' table because it's so cute. Because like you said, there's always like a much older kid.
Ashley, who's
Like
like probably like 6 feet tall.
right, with like one of the small kids. And Michelle, I was fucking dying because she turns to Melania and she goes, "I like your purse." And Melania turns into, like, in my mind, this woman from Boca. She's like, "I got it in Boca."
Boca.
I got a lot of time I went to Boca. Like, and then we have Caroline saying that she is buzzed,
Yep.
which I think is interesting and informs kind of the rest of what's going to happen over the next few minutes. Um, and while this is happening, all I can think about, Michelle, is where the fuck is Danielle? Because I have to tell you, I'm looking at the table, and there's looks like there's food on the table, doesn't there?
There's
Or
food. They've
like
all
app.
been lubricated, right?
I
Things are
hate people this
flowing.
late. I hate when people are late like
Because she
this.
likes to make an entrance. That's her thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, Danielle and her girls like finally walk in, and instantly, well, the music changes
Yeah.
because it was like, and then all of a sudden it's like, and Danielle and her girls walk in, and everybody is like, Danielle kisses Ashley and then puts her hand on Albie's shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I didn't see it, but I feel like Caroline probably shot daggers.
Yep.
Teresa, you hear in the background, and I have my captions on, so I can see everything. Teresa says hi to the girls. She says, hi, Jillian.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Christine. And then Danielle sits without greeting anyone else, which I actually thought was really strange.
Yeah, she's weird.
Like,
did they not show it on purpose, or did?
No, because the next thing that happens is Teresa says, no kisses?
Oh, yeah.
So I just thought it was weird because honestly, let's just say that you and Brian invite me to a party in a restaurant. I'm not going to walk in, kiss your kid or kiss someone else's kid, and then sit down and not either address you or Brian.
Right.
And be like, hi, guys, like hug you, kiss you. Thank you so much for having me, or whatever. Like, yeah. So I don't understand. I didn't think. So here's the part, honestly, about rewatching these. I am experiencing now so much more nuance of what went on here.
Mm-hmm.
I never realized that Danielle really came here to kind of like start shit.
Oh, you didn't?
No, because it always seemed to me like Danielle was defending herself when I saw her when I was younger.
Interesting. Oh, really? Interesting.
I never really noticed her not kissing or addressing Joe and Teresa.
Yeah.
Like that. Like, because that was rude. That was just rude right there. It was just fundamentally.
Yeah, and she's good at like those little digs. You know, she's very calculated. Well, should we talk about the bomb she drops?
Yeah. So
the bomb.
Yeah. Well, so first I wanted to ask you. For Danielle says to Teresa, her bubbies look good. So again, we have addressed her tits now that we are in the dining room. But did you see where Danielle is sitting? Did you notice who she's in between?
Sorry, no, there's Teresa, right?
Yep.
Teresa on the left, and on the right is
Teresa's at the head of the table.
Teresa's at the head, and then there's Danielle, right?
Nope. So Teresa's at the head of the table, and then on the one side, so to Teresa's left, is Chris Arita. The other side is her husband. Next to her husband is Danielle.
Okay.
And on the other side of Danielle is Albie. I think it's very interesting that Danielle would be seated between Joe Giudice, who says he fucking hates her, remember? Remember the dancing episode?
Yep.
And Albie, who allegedly was nearly molested by her. This 12-year-old boy who was nearly molested, I mean, he's fucking 22 years old, who was nearly molested by her. I didn't think it's interesting.
Do you think that was planned?
She's seated. I don't know. I just thought it was weird. And I thought it was noteworthy, so I wanted to bring it up to you. Then the seafood comes out, and everybody acts like they're 5 years old and that they've never heard of or seen oysters. There even was a clip, and honestly, I almost passed out. Like, so I have a seafood allergy, so I don't ever touch these things. But did you see there was just one quick shot of like a child's hand? It was probably Melania, who put her cigarette out and stuck her hand inside an oyster. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Do you like oysters, by the way?
Yeah, so whenever like we would go to like a buffet, like any sort of fancy buffet, there used to be something in Boston we would go to, but part of it they have like a big seafood selection, and my dad would always say, hit the seafood first. I'd be like, why? He'd be like, it's the most expensive thing, fill up on it. And that was his thing. He likes seafood anyway. But yeah, so like the oysters, like it, right? The crabs, the shrimp, the whole, I do. I eat all that shit. There's a lot I don't eat, but there's a lot I do eat.
So the first thing that we see is literally everyone acting like they've never seen these raw oysters before. So you do eat them?
You do, and you don't. And the thing is,
what's
they
the
come
process?
To you.
Can you tell me? I don't.
Okay, so
I've honestly never been around them, because even just sometimes the juice, like if it gets on me, will cause like a little bit of a welt.
Oh gosh,
my seafood allergy is pretty gross. So I've never even been near anybody eating them, so I don't even know what you're supposed to.
Like the loogie in the middle that you're supposed to eat.
Oh, holy mother of God!
So whoever has that really fucking sharp knife to open it is supposed to also scrape that so that it's detached. So you're not supposed to have to touch it. You're supposed to just slide it down your mouth. So you put your crap on it.
That is what shucking is?
Yeah, so shucking involves cutting it open, but also I've never had like an oyster that's been attached. It might look attached, but it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be so that you don't have to fuck with it. You just put it in your mouth and it slides down your throat.
And you do Tabasco?
Or horseradish, or olive it, or lemon.
Ooh.
Cocktail sauce.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And is it supposed to be an aphrodisiac?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, don't they just say that about anything fish? You know what? It tastes like it just tastes like the ocean. It's not fishy. It's like, and if you've ever,
Briny?
yeah, if you've been to like, different oceans around the world, they all smell different.
Okay.
And that's it. Like, so you could get, depending on where you get the oysters from, they just taste different. So it's not even like eating anything. It's like the
So
ocean.
it's like those freeze-dried milk duds that I'm obsessed with. So it's basically, it's not like eating anything, it's like inhaling chocolate. Same thing,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But don't think too much about it, because then you're going to want to chew it. It's going to ruin it for you.
Yeah, you just want it to melt in your mouth and just go away.
Just go down your throat. Yeah.
See, that's perfect. You can have your oysters and I'll have my freeze-dried milk duds.
All right.
How much did that thing cost? How much do you think a couple of those towers, those seafood towers that come out? Is that expensive?
I mean, an oyster, was probably, I don't know, $3 or $4 per piece.
Really? Okay, so they spent some cash.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those seafood towers are a thing. What else did they have on that tower?
I thought I saw like some shrimpy situations.
Yeah. So what I don't like about that is that when they give you those seafood towers, they insist on giving you these massive shrimp, and
Yeah.
they're not like succulent or anything. They just become these big meaty, like,
Oh, they're not tender. You can't really bite into them.
no, they're just, you got to use a knife, and yeah, it's not nice.
Well, you know what's funny is I think that there's some people who grew up around like people who like ate seafood. I mean, we're in New England, right? So we've been exposed to a ton of seafood. I
Well,
mean,
my parents grew up very poor, and in East Cambridge in the 30s and 40s, and seafood was cheap, and because that was like what
really,
yeah, that's what the poor people ate. They ate seafood, so it was abundant. And so there was apparently cod like everywhere. I mean, it was the ocean was just, yeah, I remember they were always talking about cod, and now there's like a cod shortage. But yeah, there was always they ate weird shit like smelts, and there was always clams, and yeah, I don't know, all sorts of things. Clams, oysters, mussels. My mother used to make like a nice mussel thing in sauce. Yeah, no, so there was just yeah, it's poor
I've
people. They had
never
it.
I've never had any of that stuff. Actually, I bit into a shrimp once and it didn't go well. It
No.
ended with my lips looking like some type of demented Angelina Jolie situation.
That's your
So,
lip filler right there. Okay.
yeah, that's my filler. Fuck Dr. Makalaka Makakakas, also known as Dr. Cock, to Danielle's dog. So everybody acts like they're me during this dinner, and they're like afraid of the seafood, and everyone's like, "Ew, it looks like snot." And Joe is acting like a baby, and then he actually he says, "Oh, I found a bit of shit in it," and so he gives it to Danielle, who like does it like a shot, like you said.
Hmm.
And then we have this whole scene here, which feels really weird to me, where Teresa starts saying like sexual things in front of the whole group of people.
What? Yeah.
So she
This is
starts off
really
by
her
saying
speed. Yeah.
that she isn't big on swallowing.
Hmm.
And so this is where to me it like differs from my family, right? Like we would never fucking talk like this in a group.
No.
If Uncle Frank ever heard someone make an allusion to a blowjob at the table, do you understand the death and destruction that would then ensue? Do you understand force majeure, Michelle? I mean, get the fuck. Uncle Frank, oh my God, if my cousin Nancy ever did, he would have killed her.
Oh, that's so funny.
He would have, or my Bob, oh my God, death, death, death. So yeah, this is where it differs, because Teresa starts saying this, and she's of course saying it loud enough for the whole table to hear. Things like, I'm not big on swallowing. And then all of a sudden we get the confessional, and she says she's just trying to loosen everybody up. They didn't seem like they were tight, to be 1,000% honest.
No, she was the one who was loose. That's,
Right?
she's half in the bag, yeah.
She's got to be in many bags, right? Because she says, "I'm just being myself." Like, what? This is not the self of you that I've seen.
She's in Joe's ball bag. Yeah,
Yeah,
lots of bags.
this is a tree that I've never seen before. So she laughs, and that's when she talks about it's an aphrodisiac. And she says that Joe shouldn't have it because he already wants to have sex with her 3 times a fucking day.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole table is cracking up. Everybody is dying, like literally, like people
like
can't,
it's the best thing they've ever heard.
Oh, yeah. And they're cracking up because either, to your point, they can tell that she's loaded.
Yeah.
And it's funny. And of course, the kids are at a separate table, right? So they probably can't hear. But what's cracking me up here is that I feel like the stuff that she starts saying and the stuff that she starts doing is basically the stuff that she crucified Danielle for.
Yes. And I think that she made an opening for Danielle.
Yeah, I mean, and it's weird. She starts to say the most fucked up things. Like, honestly, I keep thinking about my family and the table, and I'm imagining different cousins saying some of these things. Like Teresa saying she's sore from being fucked so much, and that she needs a break. I can't imagine. I'm like imagining my cousin Donna being like, just sore from Timmy. Like I can't. Who says that, right? Like, luckily the kids are somewhere else, right? Teresa starts talking to Danielle, and this is another thing. Did you notice this? That she specifically says, "Hey, Danielle," on the way home. Did you notice that? She addresses her specifically. On the way home, and she tells that whole story about how Joe wanted to have sex with her.
Yeah.
And then when he finally gets her home, he feeds her, gives her a sandwich, right? Yeah. And a drink. And then he tells her she could just lay there.
Yeah.
And she keeps going. And by the way, and stop me, I mean, really, Michelle, you tell me if I'm wrong, because you're much more introspective than I am. To me, this is by far more graphic than anything Danielle has ever said on the show.
Yeah, I know for sure. And I don't know. Is it just that she's just really drunk? Or
yeah, but she's being super like this is like Danielle has never been this graphic. If Teresa heard Danielle saying stuff like this, she'd probably shoot her in the face.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
she'd crucify her.
Yeah, well, we definitely see like a different side to Teresa. I mean, maybe this is the beginning.
This is the Trielzebub. So out of nowhere, Danielle puts the book on the table. Where was it, by the way? Was it like up her ass? Did she have it in her thong?
What the fuck? Please.
Was it in her thong?
She fucking pulled it out of her Michael Jackson hairdo, right? So she just fucking puts it on the table with that smirk and taps it.
So can I tell you, I did a couple of crazy things. I noticed a few things during this scene. A couple of times, there's just no talking. Things happen and nobody speaks.
Yeah.
And so I counted this. So nobody speaks for a solid 9 Mississippis. I counted 9. I went back and counted. Nobody. As soon as she puts the book down, we see all these shots. No one even looks.
Yeah.
And then we get a confessional from Teresa, right? The confessional shot. She says she can't believe that Danielle is going to do this right now.
Yeah. Because it's about Teresa. This is Teresa's thing.
And then did you see what happens? So at the table, Teresa says in Italian to Joe, did you hear this?
Yes.
Look at the book.
Yeah.
And we get that Dina confessional, right? Where Dina is like, nothing good can come of her putting this book on the table. And then even Danielle says, in her confessional right after, that Jacqueline, she didn't even tell Jacqueline that she was going to bring the book. And so then Jacqueline says out loud at the table that it feels like they're being ambushed.
She was ambushing them. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so no one is making eye contact with her at the table.
Nope.
They're all avoiding her. It's literally like, if you can imagine the Last Supper, but no one is like, somebody's on their phone, somebody's looking through their purse. Actually, that is the Last Supper now that I think about it. I have just now compared this episode to the Last Supper, where I think in this one, Jesus is probably Caroline Manzo. But it's just weird to me because Danielle, she just doesn't, she feels so unjustly persecuted.
Yeah.
That she is so driven to do these things that are so fucking cringy. Like,
yeah,
the dramaticness. Like, she could have just said to everybody, I want to talk about the book.
But
right?
she had to just pull it out
I
and,
told you, I'm a
tap
fucking
on it.
twat.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, literally dust it off and plunk it on the table.
Yeah.
And I love how she says, I had an angling towards Dina. Like, she does have such a boner for Dina. She says that she wants to talk about the book because it's been haunting her. She says she feels the need to clarify a few things for all of you that took such a great interest in my life 25 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So when she said that, it's funny, I got like a little bit of like a flashback to my own life, like 25 years ago. And I thought, I mean, even as like a teenager and, in my 20s, would my life hold up to this level of scrutiny? Like, I'm not a prostitution whore. I've been engaged 19 times, but like, right. But hey, I've been engaged.
Prostitution whore.
I've been engaged twice, this, like it's not like I don't have skeletons, right? Everybody has stuff that they'd rather didn't come out or wasn't talked about.
Yeah.
So I kept thinking, I was like, thankfully I didn't fuck out anything up enough to be included in a book.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like everybody is just super judgy. Like, you know what I mean? Like this, everyone believes this book like it's the Bible.
Well, but the thing is though, is that I think they all can read Danielle and they know that like,
she's off.
That she's off, that she leeches on to people, right? And that and the thing with her and Dina is that so Dina really wants to just live her life as if Danielle doesn't exist. And she really is, and and everybody
like a kid who hides under the blanket is like, no one can see me.
And because like, Caroline like doesn't give a shit about Danielle. Danielle doesn't go after Caroline, so she's got a boner for Dina because she knows Dina really is just like, why the fuck do I have to even bother with this person? And so that's what she goes for.
And I think you're right. I think also too, and I know we've talked about it, sorry guys, in every single episode almost that we've been doing of the rewatch of this first season. But of course there's that beef that nobody really knows about that started it all.
Yeah.
That we don't know how serious that was, how surface that was. So I think that us not knowing that too, I feel like honestly, the more that we get into this episode and the more I think about what happens from now until the end of the episode, it feels like maybe it was more serious.
Yeah, I wonder.
It feels a little bit more serious. So Danielle starts talking, and honestly, I have to say, I didn't write down almost everything Danielle said because she repeated herself quite a bit.
Yeah, a lot. It was,
and so, which is of course what people do when they're not feeling like they're not being heard.
Yeah, and then she did this like sort of control thing of like, stop, let me talk, that kind of thing.
Exactly. So I have kind of a high level sort of version of it, although I do have an awful lot of notes on it anyway. So Danielle says there's been a lot of lies written and spread about her. And so she starts saying that all this stuff, and like, this book was written by my first husband. There's two truths in this book. I got arrested and I changed my name. I was never a prostitute or any of the other things that were said. And Dina looks like she smells something bad, and she says, I realized quickly that she was talking about me. And then Dina says, this was supposed to be a nice family dinner, to which I want to go, Teresa is not your family. Well, we always forget that. We keep forgetting that, right? Like,
but if you compare, I guess, like on a comparative level, right? Danielle is definitively not family.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is so like Teresa, they've been friends for 15 years.
Yeah.
That's how close they are. Yeah. Right. And so Dina looks, really pissed off, and she interrupts Danielle and she says, can I stop you right now? And Danielle goes, no, you can't. And then Caroline pets Dina and says, be good. Be good. Yeah. Like, I do that with Casey Jones while scrolling on her phone. And then Teresa interjects, yes, she could. Yes, like when she's like somebody just out of nowhere. Yes, she could.
Yeah.
And Caroline says, let's hear her out. And it's weird because Caroline feels for a few minutes like the voice of reason.
Yes.
I almost feel like I'm taken in by Caroline for a few minutes during the scene. And then Dina says, you know what? Let her talk, which cracks me up because I just want to go like, it feels like she's the hype man for Caroline. Caroline says something and Dina goes, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. That's right.
I said that.
Yeah. You heard what I said, And so Teresa said, you knew we would find out. And if you were really a friend, you would have told us. Do you think, I have to know, do you think that they were entitled to this information? Like if you got arrested 25 years ago, and to you, it's not a serious thing. You just got arrested. It's not like you served time. You just got arrested. And you just met some new friends. Like, I mean, is there some validity in me saying, I don't know that they're entitled to that information?
Well, I think like in the the Google age that you can find anything about anyone.
Oh, right.
So
But what if you don't Google them? Like, what if you just like, that's my new friend Michelle, and I never Google you, but then I find out. Like, did I have a right to know that? I don't. I lean kind of towards no.
I lean towards no too. I mean, I think people make mistakes, and but Danielle's special. The thing is, Danielle brings this on herself. She it's almost like
Right,
she's
because even
begging for it, right?
well, she's so antagonistic, right? Because as soon
Yeah,
as Teresa says this, Danielle goes, "Are you done yet?" And
yeah.
it's like it's very juvenile. And then Teresa's like, "Are you?" And then it's very like, as soon as people start to do that, the level
You
of
check out,
cringe for me, I roll and I'm like, all right, is there a snack around that I can shove in my face? And then Danielle says, right now I have the floor.
Mm-hmm.
The floor. And then Dina gets up and snuggles up next to Teresa.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering this entire time, because ostensibly to calm her, where is she sitting?
What is she sitting on? Like
What
where?
is she sitting on? Is she just crouching this whole time?
I don't. Teresa's skinny, so she probably just put her ass
Maybe.
cheek on the chair. Yeah.
It looks like she's crouching. So Caroline says, let her speak, let her have hers, and you can have yours. And then Caroline in the confessional, and this is, of course, the confessional where she's wearing like the sparkly, sad bronze lame top, and her hair is all like sweaty, plastered to her head. And she says, I thought she had the right to try and explain herself. Would I have believed anything she said? Probably not. And then Dina says to Danielle, say what you have to say, and then I'll say what I have to say. And then this is, I think, what you meant too, is Danielle says shit like this. She says, I think you've said plenty.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand how you're supposed to like come back from that. How are you going to have like...
She's not going to let Dina off the hook. That's just it. That's it. She got a hard on for her, and that's the end of the story. Yeah.
And that's exactly, Michelle, that is exactly what happens now. Caroline in her confessional says, I think she has a need to hate Dina.
Yeah.
Dina, her confessional says, I don't know what her problem is with me. She says that she's had nothing to do with showing the book anywhere. Do you believe that?
No, and I'll tell you what is the dead giveaway for me.
Okay.
When Caroline says, Danielle, look at me when I talk to you.
Yeah.
And Dina's now sitting next to her. And Caroline says, I'm the one who leaked it. Or what did she say exactly? The look that Dina shot her was like a sibling. I've done this with my sister before, right?
Yeah.
Where like one of you wants to fucking put it to bed because it has to end, right? And so one of you is just going to step up and you're going to fucking lie, and the other one is going to go along with it because you know that you can control the narrative. Because the look that Dina gave her was like a look of, I can't believe you just said that. I'm so surprised, but geez, I'm just keeping the smile on my face. I mean, like it was... So Dina didn't know she was going to do it. So no, I think Dina did it, and Caroline just wanted to finish it.
Oh, that's so interesting. That's so interesting. Because I mean, it's this whole thing kind of gets it goes from 0 to amped very quickly, and Caroline is trying to orchestrate everything.
She is,
she's
which
orchestrating
is why she said
Dina.
That. Yeah.
She's like trying to orchestrate everything. Like, you sit down, you shut up, you don't talk. Her next thing she says is, especially when things get snarky around whether the kids should be in the room or out of the room.
Yeah.
And Danielle talks about, well, my kids have been around, but finally, Caroline says, time out, we're all adults here. and we will act accordingly.
Yeah, accordingly.
And then Danielle says, what I have to say is, I don't know any of you enough to tell you about my life 25 years before I met you, that's where we agree with her. She says, I made a lot of mistakes. And she says again here, wrong place, wrong time, which I hate hearing because, of course, that shows no accountability. She never says, I was hanging out with the wrong people.
Can I ask you a
Made a lot of
question?
mistakes.
Do you think that there's anything that production digs up for people and gives people like as informational tidbits?
Now I am sure. Then I don't know how much. Like, I'll put it this way. I bet you that Danielle was not going to need to be coached to confront everybody at this dinner.
Mm-hmm.
But I bet that she was told, it'd be really impactful if you brought that book.
Mm-hmm.
Because that makes good TV.
Yeah.
So I think that back then there was some production interference or production.
Yeah.
Full stop. Now I think it is commonplace in every scene. I feel like the only thing now that I can say that like it was 100% real was like the first season of The Real World on MTV.
What a fucking hot mess that show was.
No, I love it, Andre. I love you. I love you, Andre. R.I.P. Gouda. R.I.P. Gouda. So I loved that dog. So remember Norm, the guy Norm that was on it?
Yeah.
He had a dog named Gouda.
Yeah,
I loved it. Great Dane, a black Great Dane named Gouda. So yeah, so I do. It sucks to hear Danielle like have an opportunity. I mean, I think she actually fucking has the floor. She has an opportunity to look at them and say things like, yeah, I made a lot of mistakes. I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. I hung out with the wrong people. Things happened. I got arrested. Lots of people get arrested. I didn't go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Lots of people get arrested.
She also could have said like, look, she could have been a little bit more vulnerable with them and said, hey, I came from kind of like a crappy life. I was really young and on my own and inexperienced, and I did really silly things. But see, that would have to give her accountability. I mean,
I wish I could say to you that like, I mean,
any of the stupid shit you've ever done. Well, you've never really done stupid shit, but when I think of like the stupid shit that I've done, I can honestly say, well, this is what backs it up. This is where my headspace was at that point in my life, and I couldn't see the forest but for the trees, kind of thing.
Yep.
But she's not saying that. She's just saying like, I'm innocent.
She really does feel like the injured party, Michelle.
Yeah.
Like I think if she were here, she'd be like, but I'm the one. Like I feel like there's a combination of things. And we don't really get, and well, I don't know, maybe it's me that I don't get it. You tell me what you think. I have felt like now that I reflect from the previous episodes, that there's been this undercurrent of like Dina allegedly talking about Danielle. And then sometimes Dina actually talking about her, like when they went to, when they were at Dina's house in that scary basement having the wine and Teresa had on the hat. And they were like laughing about the book and all that other shit about her being a prostitute or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's that piece, right? There's all of this stuff around trying to figure out whether or not Danielle is like a human.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another half here of Danielle who is incapable of being vulnerable, to your point.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that she already is coming from a place where she feels defensive because she's also hearing rumors that like, I feel like there's one bitchy gay hairstylist to blame here. Who is this fucking guy?
Yeah,
so
totally
let's find this fucking guy, because I feel like there's one person, I really do. And I know this is going to sound stupid, but I feel like this can be boiled down to Danielle already feeling ridiculously defensive and entitled to be defensive because she feels like she's hearing from, I'm going to call him Tony, the stylist, the fictitious stylist, that that Dina is talking about her and saying bad things about her. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like she is coming from that place already where she is not willing to come and be vulnerable and say, yeah, I messed up. like you'd almost expect. Like, I feel like because Tony has been feeding her lies about Dina showing up at the book, maybe he has something against Dina. You know, Tony's a bastard.
Oh, or he
Ever
just
since
likes
he
to...
got off Broadway and ever since he broke his ankle and he couldn't be on Broadway anymore, he's been very bitter.
Yes, that slippery tap shoe.
It is.
Yeah. But I don't think that, well, okay. See, but you and I have, and we haven't discussed this yet, but we've read the Danielle's book.
Yes, we have.
And I think having read that already, I have a different perspective of her, which is that she's just she's always the victim. She's forever the victim. And I think, you're gonna walk around like that, somebody's gonna get mad at you. So so maybe Tony the stylist just got sick of listening to her, right?
Fucking asshole. Well, yeah, I mean, and here's the thing, like, Danielle is like really blaming Dina. Like, she's very focused on Dina.
And
when
Dina
she's having
really
this conversation.
wishes that Danielle would evaporate. Or
and Danielle says the craziest shit. She says, I sat home alone, throwing up with diarrhea for 3 weeks because of you.
Yeah. Okay.
And then again, we have another confessional, Teresa saying, I don't know what Danielle has against Dina.
Diarrhea.
And then Dina says, she thinks this is, see if you can guess who said this before, right? This is who said it first, but who said it most famously. Dina says, she thinks I'm trying to ruin her reputation. She does a good job of that on her own. Who says that later in Real Housewives of Beverly Hills?
Oh, Beast.
No, Garcelle. To Erica.
Oh, yeah, that's Garcelle.
Erica's like,
so you can do that all on your own.
Exactly.
I love Garcelle.
Dina did it first, baby. Dina did it first, Danielle, we see her confessional. She says, I know Dina revealed the book. This is why I'm telling you, it's fucking Tony. Like, somebody has been feeding her these rumors. So she says, I know she did. Caroline and Dina showed it to people publicly. So then we have Danielle at the dinner, and she said, why would you do this unless it would just to make yourself feel better?
Tony must have been like the hairdresser on the shoots that Danielle was doing. That's what it is. He was involved in like the modeling agency. That,
she's probably a fluffer. Yes.
Yeah, a fluffer. She did real pictures, not dirty pictures.
She did real pictures. Only the ones she showed to her kids were dirty.
Yeah.
And then we have Dina, and Dina keeps saying the same thing over and over again, right? Which is like the hallmark of a liar, which is like you hold on to like the technicality, which is like, if the glove doesn't fit.
Oh my God, I know, right? Okay, OJ. Okay.
Like, right? She says, I never had the book in my hands. I never had the book in my hands. She says it over and over again. And then that's when Caroline says, and best actress for Caroline, right? She says, Caroline goes, can you do me a favor? Look at me.
Yep.
Because I'm the one that told them.
Yeah. And then Dina shoots her that look.
Right. And now we know why Caroline has been trying to control this entire conversation, telling Dina to shut up all night.
Yeah. And now she's just taking responsibility for it to shut it all down.
Yep. And now we have Danielle with a long pause, a very long pause. And she says, that's not what I heard, which is what I'm saying to you. Like, I think this is everything. I think this is Tony.
Yeah.
I think Caroline says,
very good authority.
Yeah. Well, someone told her, and they told Jacqueline too, right? She'll corroborate that in a minute. Caroline says, I will not allow you to attack my sister when it's not true. And then we get Caroline in the confessional again, where she's, doing her whole thing where she's like, no, my family is not involved with the mafia. I do not know what you are talking about necessarily. And so she says, I don't care about her past or how she lives her life, but you will not attack people I love. And then we have another super famous quote, Michelle. This is Caroline Manzo is associated with this for the rest of her fucking life. Let me tell you something about my family. We are as thick as thieves, or two short planks. We protect each other. And then Danielle says, even in the confessional, Danielle believes it was Dina. Right? And so then Caroline is at the dinner again, and she says, listen, I showed the book. If you have something to say it to me. And Dina says, you are the one who chose to say stuff about me that is untrue. And this is where we get that whole like back and forth about Tony, right?
Yep.
Like, I believe that there really is I believe that somebody at the chateau
The hairdresser chateau, not the house, the chateau style, right?
Right, the actual hairdressers, and not Le Chateau, which is an awesome restaurant in New England where the toasted raviolis are just my entire jam. But so somebody who's at Chateau who is twisting shit, telling fucked up things to Dina, and then telling fucked up things to Jacqueline and to Danielle.
And if you're wondering who it is, it's the too tan guy. Because he still thinks he's in like Fort Lauderdale, right? So Boca. Yeah, he's in Florida. So that's
he's with Melania and Boca.
He's with with the Sopranos and Boca.
Yeah. And then Dina says to her, she goes, "You started this. You started vicious lies that could hurt my child and my family." And then Danielle denies lying about Dina at all.
Yeah.
And then Dina says, "Ask anyone at this table. You've told them lies as well," which means that Teresa and Jacqueline have said that. Both said that to her.
Yep.
Which that means they've turned, right? So Danielle says that the only time that she spoke ill, I love this, she spoke ill of Dina was when she heard that she was telling lies about her. I mean, not to mention those other 10 times that she was like talking shit about her on camera to Jacqueline. I mean, other than that, and to her children, and also to her gay friend. But other than that, hardly at all did she talk shit about Dina. So then, yeah, only a little bit. Only a mini, it's wafer thin. It's wafer thin. So Caroline says, "It's your word, Danielle, against hers, Dina," which is a stupid fucking thing to say. And it's very antagonistic, but whatever. And then, so Danielle says, "I won't turn the other cheek. When I am attacked, I attack back," which is weird considering what we know about Danielle again, in terms of from reading her autobiography, which is that she's allegedly very religious, but she's not going to turn the other cheek.
And always the victim, so she should be turning her cheek.
Yeah.
When do you get to choose when you're the victim?
I just don't understand. It's very strange to me that Danielle is not really picking up what's going on here. So then Dina says, "No one is attacking you." And then they all start arguing about who brought it into town. And then out of nowhere, I don't know if you heard this, because it was going back between Dina and Danielle. And somebody says, "No one knows you," to Danielle. I like to say, because Danielle says, "You brought it to Franklin Lakes," and someone goes, "Nobody knows you." And I was dying. I was like, Danielle has no friends. And that's the truth, right? Danielle makes it sound like, and then they brought it to USA Today, right? It went to your fucking hairdresser. It's just so stupid. And so then Danielle says, "You didn't take the book into the chateau?" And Dina goes, "Absolutely not." Caroline goes, "I took it into chateau. I don't give a shit. I had it in my bag." And she said, "Vic and Joe will tell you that." I think instead of Tony, it might be Vic and Joe. And then Danielle says, "I heard that it was Dina." And I'm starting to feel like she was set up a little bit in this.
Oh, I definitely think so. I mean, somebody, yeah. And I don't really think it's the Manzos. I think somebody set up the Manzos and they knew that it was gonna, all get funky town. Yeah, I do. There has to be like a third party involved in this.
I really do. I mean, I'm joking about Tony, but I feel like there's somebody
someone from Danielle's past who knows that she's a little shady. He knows someone who knows something because he's spent a lot of time in Boca.
Yeah.
Fort Lauderdale, Tampa, the circuit, whatever.
Yeah, right? He's been doing the Florida circuit, the FL circuit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to kind of suss out, because I feel like Danielle has got so many things that are against her. And she has so many people that are, not out to get her necessarily, but well,
she wishes people were out to get her.
How about
no
this?
One wants her.
How about this? Not out to help her.
Yeah.
Maybe not out to get her, but not out to help her out either. And it's because she's kind of a shithead. And then even Jacqueline says, it's hard to watch your friend have no one to back her up. And she said she felt really torn and she didn't know what to do. And then Dina says to Jacqueline, "Tell her the truth of who it was." And then that's when Jacqueline confirms the rumor that Danielle heard. She actually says, "I was there with her. I heard someone say it was you, Dina." And so then Caroline in her confessional says that Jacqueline has to make a choice between friendship with Danielle and family.
Because this starts a whole other avenue of explosive. Yeah.
Michelle, what the fuck? Can you talk to me about this for a second? Like, what?
Just don't say anything.
How do you
Jacqueline,
say
don't
that to
say
somebody?
anything. Just
But not
fucking
even
keep your
that.
mouth shut.
Like, is that really a thing? Like, that your family would say to you, like, you know, you have to stop being friends with this person? Like, what?
Well, here's the thing, and I don't think that Caroline is wrong. I think she could see Danielle for what she is, and I think Caroline also sees that Danielle really has a boner for Dina for whatever reason, and Dina is just really frustrated by the existence of Danielle and just like doesn't want to be around her. So yeah, so I think I don't know what to think, but I in a way I can't say that she's completely wrong because Jacqueline is a little flighty and I think she has a hard time making decisions. I mean, look at how she is with her own child, right? She can't really. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I feel like just the idea of it, like, I don't understand why Caroline Manzo isn't just like, Jacqueline can do whatever the fuck she wants with Danielle. I myself am going to remove me and my kids and my husband from the Danielle situation. I don't want to be around Danielle. You know what I mean? Like, I'm surprised that it's coming to that kind of, it seems very sixth grade to me. I don't know. And then we have things are going to start to escalate because once Jacqueline gets involved, and you tell me, I feel like once Jacqueline gets involved, this is where things go sideways because Jacqueline has been clearly holding all this in the entire time.
Yes.
And she erupts like with some kind of insane fountain here.
And I had to really go rewind and look at the subtitles over and over again to really suss out what's happening.
Same. So Jacqueline starts to like and she really gets amped up. And there's a lot of pointing.
Yeah.
And pointing, like really big gesturing, which this is honestly where I think things start to escalate, right? This is where I'm noticing that people's demeanor start to change because she says things like, I swear on my son's life, that's what I heard, right? She's talking about the rumors that she heard. And then Dina stands up to leave. And Jacqueline says that Dina actually called her over excitedly to see what she had found when she had found the book.
Yeah.
Dina is freaking out.
Yeah.
Right? Dina's denying this. Jacqueline is saying she wasn't going to say anything, but Dina is acting like she had nothing to do with the book. And honestly, I am so excited when this is happening, Michelle. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm like stomping my feet. Yeah.
I was like, literally, like, I felt like I was watching a touchdown happen. You know what I felt like? There's this moment, and I call it like a Legends of the Fall moment. Like sometimes in life, there are these moments where stuff like that happens and like somebody comes through and, you know, someone has your back or whatever. And it's like this like spine, you know, tingling moment of excitement and you know that everything's going to be okay. Did you see Legends of the Fall with Brad Pitt?
Yeah. Oh, long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah. That was when Brad, for those of you that don't know, if you know
gorgeous.
only Brad as like, you know, the weathered kind of drunk husband of Angelina Jolie, he used to be unbelievably gorgeous with long hair. And so in Legends of the Fall, he plays like this prodigal son of Anthony Hopkins. And he goes off, I think his name was Tristan. And he goes off and he becomes like a cattle baron or a horse baron. Yep. And there's a scene where he comes over the top and you hear the theme from Legends of the Fall playing. And he comes over the top of a mountain ridge, hair flying in the wind with about 40 horses around him. And I always think like that's like the moment of like, yay, like, you know, the cavalry is coming. That's how I feel, honestly, when Jacqueline starts talking. I feel just like that. It's a Legends of the Falls moment.
That's so funny. Oh my God.
Because she's the only person who gives a shit about Danielle. And even though Danielle is a fucking idiot sometimes, I feel like it's hard to watch her just get annihilated, especially by the 1-2 punch of Dina and Caroline. And also to feel like on one side you have the husband of Teresa, and on the other side you have the son of Caroline, who you're now in a beef with.
But the thing is that she just, if you go through every episode, she has such a history of making an ass out of herself. I don't feel bad for her. Like I
don't either, but it's not like it doesn't. The punishment, I don't think, fits the crime. Like, you could just not be friends with her. You could just ice her out.
Yeah, but
Like, you
she
don't have
won't
to do
let you
this.
ice her out. This is the thing. She won't let you. Danielle, she's
does, though.
insidious.
Like,
She's like fucking salt. She gets
I
in.
think that this could have been an awesome show had Dina kept doing what she did originally. Remember when she had the girls over at the chateau and they were all getting ready and they were all going out, and like Danielle wanted to go. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then they were worried that Danielle was going to show up. I would just keep doing that. I would just keep not inviting her. Like, I would ice her out of filming. I really would. Like, if she was that abhorrent to me.
Yeah.
Right? Repugnant to command. To give you some.
Well, again,
like,
how many at what point are they obligated though to not ice her out?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, people do that a lot in the Housewives, but I don't know if they probably felt like they could.
Yeah. I mean, there's the understanding the assignment kind of thing. This is so new,
Well, I think they defined the assignment. I was about to say, I'm like, I think we're watching the assignment get defined.
Yeah.
I think
so.
And because I think you said this previously about some of these scenes that we were doing, like when we watched the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills scene and the Bethany scene, like that. These are the things that we come to expect. Like, they set that was the mold that we, and the things that we want to see. Yeah. And I think this is where it's getting set up. So Jacqueline is still screaming. She now is actually, and this is where I think it's interesting. Jacqueline is so pissed. She's yelling at Caroline.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Jacqueline must be fucking lit, right?
Yeah. Well, no, she's getting everybody mad. Yeah. And it's so out of character for her.
Yeah. She says, I'm not going to let you take the rap for her, Dina. Caroline keeps telling Dina to sit down. Controlling as fuck, though, Michelle.
She is.
The way that Caroline was with Dina in this scene reminded me of like an abusive boyfriend. Like, that's how one would behave. You know what I mean? Like, telling you to sit down, shut up, I'm going to do the talking.
Yeah, but do you want that makes me wonder if Dina is a bit of a hothead.
Or maybe she's less competent than we think she is.
Yeah.
Maybe she's not as competent as we have been giving her credit for.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why Caroline feels like she has to step in. Caroline says here, her work is flawless. I mean, the double axle is gorgeous. It's the dismount, right? So she says, right, so it's always the dismount that the Russian judges don't like. So Caroline says, we found out together. And then Dina says to Jacqueline, you pretend, did you catch this part? You pretend to be her friend.
Yeah.
And she said, you are two-faced.
Yeah.
I couldn't fucking believe she was saying that to Jacqueline. You are two-faced. You are two-faced. Dina gets up and she looks at Danielle and she goes, she's not really your friend. And then literally, this is when I have to say, Caroline to Jacqueline, she goes, enough. And I was like, oh shit.
She has spoken.
Oh shit. And what's interesting though is that if Jacqueline were by herself, I think that might have shut her up. I think the fact that she is there with her husband, and that husband just happens to be the brother of Caroline.
And, I think he's kind of sticking up for Danielle, right? He's
about to. Danielle starts to say, I didn't want this. She starts to back off. She says, I wanted to clear the air on this. And then Dina's like, you didn't want to clear the air. We're talking about the present. I don't give a shit about the book. And then that is when things go cuckoo, Michelle. We haven't even gotten to the real cuckoo-ness. And this is like a 4-hour episode. We have to split it. Literally, Teresa becomes scary face Medusa. Did you notice this?
Oh my God. The look, the looks that come over her face, it's amazing.
I felt like she was a mask.
You can see like the shift, and I start to wonder, this is a dinner that she's paying for, right? And
she must be bullshit.
And none of the good attention is on her, right? Nope. So she's just just the moods that come over her face. It's amazing.
She must be bullshit. So this is where she gets involved. And her getting involved is never good in anything. This is, if we didn't know that before, we know this now and for the next 14 seasons. If Teresa is involved, no es bueno. So here's how it all begins. Teresa starts slowly. It's like a locomotive. It's like, chuck, chuck, chuck. so why did your ex-husband write the book? Obviously something has to be true. Chug, 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 chug. And then Danielle at that point is like arms folded, looking away. And then all of a sudden she like snaps and she's like, I already told you, Teresa, were you not here? And then she says, I got arrested and I changed my name. Pay attention, please.
Yeah, that just
and that is what goes so fucking wrong. Apparently, that is Teresa's trigger word.
Yep.
So Teresa, her mouth opens. So, and I don't know if you noticed this. So as soon as she says, pay attention, please, it goes right back to Teresa and she's mid Medusa.
Yeah.
Right?
It's crazy. Her
mouth is kind of hanging open and her hand is out like this. She's like frozen. It's not frozen, but she is frozen. I went back and I rewound it. 4 Mississippis, 1 Mississippi, 2. It was a long time.
Yeah.
It was a very long time. And then Teresa says, I am paying attention. Obviously, there has to be something else. You were stripping, prostitution whore. You were fucking engaged 19 times. And then she slams the table with her hands.
Yeah.
You fucking stupid bitch. Half lift of the table. And then full lift. And then Teresa goes completely insane. Did you hear her? She was speaking in tongues.
In tongues.
What was that?
Like, what the fuck language?
What did she say? It was so bad that they couldn't figure it out in the captioning. Could you figure out anything that was said?
No, there were no captions to help. There was nothing. It was just, I'm telling you, it was in tongues. She was suddenly like in Appalachia having a fucking
Nell.
Experience.
She was Nell.
Yeah.
She was Nell.
Yeah.
Where is Jodie Foster? She was Nell. And it was, honestly, Michelle, seeing it now too, I don't think I watched really the part after, which is when her husband sort of holds her back. Dina is there. They're all kind of holding her back.
Yeah.
And Dina keeps just saying her name. She's just like, Teresa. Like she just can't get over like what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, Teresa is like having these eruptions still.
Yeah.
And she's like, you fucked a guy? Steve, ostensibly, right?
Mm-hmm.
In my house? And even Albie has kind of stepped in. I don't know if you noticed this. He has his arm around Danielle.
Yeah. I wonder, so yeah, there's some pieces that were missing, right? I mean, did Joe just tell her something tonight about things with Steve? And, you know,
it's like this stuff has been brewing. Like I didn't, and you know, it's funny when I thought about it, when she's like, you fucked a guy in my house. I thought, oh my God, I bet you, because Steve works for Joe.
Yeah.
I bet you he fucked her in the house before they were done with it.
Yeah.
The empty
house. On the Onyx. Yep.
Or, you know what I mean? And then told Joe. And then Joe told her.
Yeah.
And she must have been pissed. And she held that in this whole time. She never mentioned it.
Joe really should keep that to himself. Steve should keep it to himself, really.
Steve shouldn't tell his boss probably that he like fucked somebody while he was probably supposed to be working.
Yeah.
And then also in his boss's house.
Yeah.
That would be my advice, you know, as a coach. I would say probably don't do that, Steve, you stupid motherfucker. But yeah, so that sounds like something that really set her off in a way that maybe we didn't know about. We didn't have that context. So maybe we didn't know that was one of the straws that was sort of building and building and building.
But also, too, I think this is the beginning of seeing Teresa. She doesn't like when it's not all about her. Like, she really gets bent out of shape.
Yeah, I think this was like the longest time in the series that she shut the fuck up, which was while Danielle was talking to, or fending off, basically, Caroline and Dina.
Well, I'm wondering, like, when she did that, like, point, like, at Danielle, I was like, is this like a processing delay that she has? Like, it's like, is something going to be said?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it was one of those things that I looked and I was like, and at first I thought, oh, fuck, is my thing buffering?
Yeah.
That's what I was like, oh, I'm buffering. And so I paused it and then I started again and I was like, oh no, the time's ticking.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, and then I was like, no way. And that's why I had to count. That's what was it was super strange. And while this is all happening, Danielle all of a sudden becomes Ramona. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And then she says, Teresa is like a freaking caged animal at the zoo. And I'm like, really? Could you be more descriptive? Like a freaking caged animal at the zoo behind the bars. They get fed twice a day. I mean, it's just so stupid. And she goes, tables need to be thrown at me. And then Teresa, all of a sudden, again, another outburst, another inarticulate outburst from our girl T. She's like, she's a fucking pig, because she's still going on about this whole thing with Steve. And that's when Dina says, I've known Teresa for almost 15 years, and I've never seen an ounce of that behavior.
Yep.
What do you think about that?
I think the anesthesia fucked with her brain when she had her tits done. And I think
hot take from Michelle Barchikowski.
She's not come
Please
out
hold. Serve it up right now. Boom, 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 boom.
She's not come out of it. That elicited like a permanent change.
She is permanently concussed.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well,
brain cells left the room. Yeah.
It's so funny that like these two are so like close then, because of course they don't speak now at all. Mm-hmm. And I think it has to do with the whole situation with Dina's now husband, Dave Canton.
Okay.
So do you remember the whole, do you remember when we listened to that podcast about, I don't know if I think it was on our trip. We listened to the podcast about Dina and her husband, about the Manzos.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We listened to a few minutes, and then I think we got on to something else. We had an ADHD moment. But I went through and I listened to the whole thing. It was actually excellent. If you guys don't already listen, they're called the Bravo Docket with Cece and Angela. They're two attorneys that break down all kinds of cool shit that's happening in the Bravo universe from like a legal perspective. And so I learned a lot about the case. And so basically, Dina, her ex-husband, the Manzo, right?
Yep.
I guess has been allegedly ordering people to beat up her and her husband in various times.
Yeah.
And so that is why basically Dina no longer talks to Caroline, because Caroline, I think, vouched for her brother-in-law when he was in part of his legal case. And I think Teresa also is part of the people that are sort of aligned more with Caroline. So it was a really interesting podcast, but it's interesting to see now how things have changed. I mean, these two are like, two peas in a pod all through this series. And very soon things are going to go very, very wrong. In fact, Teresa just got married, of course, about a year ago, and Dina was supposed to be in her wedding. And at the last minute, she pulled out. And that's why Dolores Catania. I love Dolores Catania. Let's not go there, but Dolores,
I love that name, Dolores Catania. It's my stage name.
That should be. It's Dolores is the shit. She's one of my favorites for sure. But yeah, this is honestly where things start to go cuckoo. And so Teresa says, "Don't think I'm airheaded and stupid. That's what pissed me off. Telling me to pay attention. She doesn't know who the fuck she's fucking with, okay?" And you know how when people go nuts and like every other word is fuck. Yeah. It reminded me of a interview I once heard Matt Damon talking about how we as Bostonians use the word fuck all the time. Yeah. And we use it as like an adjective, a noun, a verb.
And it loses its power. You may as well be saying like sneaker or
glass. Yeah. I mean, I remember growing up in Everett, literally we would start sentences with fucking, so what's going on?
Fucking, you're fucking suspect.
Yeah, you're fucking sus, man. And so she's starting to just unravel, right? But she's cooled down a little bit. She's sitting down, but she's still like blip. She's like a percolator. She's blip. And she's, literally, after she says she doesn't know who the fuck she's fucking with. I don't know if you noticed, we have a close up. The next shot is a close up of Jillian, Danielle's daughter, looking super startled because, of course, she's watched all this. They're all in the same room.
Oh, so from the table, right?
Yeah.
Yes. That's like, that's so crazy.
She's literally, and then she says, "I have no skeletons in my fucking closet, okay? Thank you very much." She just keeps going, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." And then Dina is sitting there, and Dina is like, "I am not saying that I'm innocent." She's saying this to Danielle. She says, and again, Danielle's daughters are right here. She goes, "I cannot stomach you." And then Danielle says, "Sweetie, the feeling is very mutual," which of course it isn't, because only a few weeks ago, Danielle was throwing her arms around, Dina, and what we were determining was the cringiest hug of all time.
Yeah, Danielle wants to inhale Dina. I mean,
oh yeah, she does want to wear her skin. Yeah. I'm sure she does. I think Dina was right there. I think she wants to be her. And then Dina says, "I do not like you as a person." And as she's saying that, Jillian is in frame. I don't know if you noticed this.
Yes.
She's literally in frame over Dina's left shoulder.
Yeah.
And then so she says, "Did Caroline bring the book?" Yes. Was I there? Yes. Did I enjoy it because of all the lies you had been spreading about me? Yes.
Oh, so Danielle's been spreading lies about Dina prior to the show starting.
That's what I'm telling you. I think that somebody is feeding Dina something. And so then Dina says, "I'm going to pray for you because that's what you need. You are cuckoo." Quick question for you. Out of nowhere, I looked in the shot. Jacqueline is sitting on her husband's lap in the restaurant. Yeah. Is that a normal thing? That seems weird.
I think she was probably upset and he was.
Okay. Yeah. Because then the eruption of yelling happens, right? Then everybody starts. There's like just little shits back and forth about who's lying and who's not lying. And that's when Chris, that's when he really does his Legends of the Fall moment. He shuts them all up. He tells them like they're acting like a bunch of fools. Who gives a shit about the book, he says. And then he says to Danielle, "You're welcome in my home. I think we're lucky to be here. We should all think that we're lucky." And then Jacqueline says that she is proud of Chris. And then Dina starts to say to Caroline, "It's over. Like, let's be done." And they all file out. And now it's funny because as they file out, I was thinking about my family because we have this thing in my family that we call the Italian part of my family. Their last name is Serio, Serio. They call it the Serio goodbye. And it takes about 20 minutes to just get out of the house. Like you say you're leaving, like it's Thanksgiving.
That's stage 1, yeah.
And you say you're leaving, yeah. And then like stage 2 is like, where the fuck are your coats? Yeah. And then stage 3 are like, where the fuck are your keys? And then stage 4 is, I got to give you your bag of leftovers and bring that.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, where's the fucking food? Don't forget that.
Yeah. So it's so funny. It just reminded me of that as they were all following out, and so that's when we get like sort of like the end captions, the wrap up to the seasons, right? So we have and I have these sort of written down here. We have Dina is enjoying being just a housewife again, and that she devotes her time to her charity, her family, and her cats, which makes me want to cry. And then we have Teresa talking about how she is hot-tempered, but she wouldn't hurt a fly, which turns out to not be true.
Just a wine glass on the table.
Yeah, it turns out not to really be true. So again, Teresa's her end cap here, her end of her year, is that she's still helping her daughter Gia with her acting career, and that her new bubbies did the trick, and that she and Joe are expecting.
Oh, they had like a fourth kid?
Yep, they have her name was Adriana. She's wicked cute. I think she's a dancer, if I'm not mistaken. Very talented. And then next, I will say, I thought this was pretty cool. Caroline said that she felt like that Danielle and Dina probably needed to apologize to each other.
Yeah. There were some things that shouldn't have been said there.
Yeah, and do you think, I think that maybe Caroline has a better read on Tony?
I think
so. She probably knows who that person is. I mean, I'm sure she knows who that person is. And so she probably knows that there's probably been some tales told either way.
I think so. I think you're right. And I just think Caroline has like a better read on everybody, really. I think
we love her.
I like her too. She got her
and she looked pretty in this. I thought that her hair looked good. It looks good when it's up and away from her face.
Yes.
And no, any type of wrap dress with a V-neck looks fabulous on her with those big ass bubbies.
Now, Teresa, I guess it was springing for this dinner, right? Yeah. So, I mean, I would be mad.
They didn't even
eat. At Danielle. No, I'd be fucking pissed at Danielle if she showed up like with the book and did that shit like at my dinner that I was paying for.
Oh my God, I know. And took over the whole dinner.
I only had like one shrimp and you fucked up the whole dinner.
I was just going to say, yeah, I mean, like they didn't even get to sit down and eat dinner and Teresa probably still had to pay for that.
Yeah.
And that was before production paid for things.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah. So Caroline's her sort of wrap up for her years. She stands by her decision to expose the book, and she says that she would do it again. God bless her. Mm-hmm. Thanks for saying that, Caroline. She's like, I'd fuck her life over again if I could. And then, Danielle, who loves to say this phrase, which she says, apologies are in order.
Yeah. As
They're in
everyone's
order.
always supposed to apologize to her.
Yep. And it says she continues to look for her soulmate, in quotations, and that she and Dina still go to the same hair salon, but have not crossed paths. You think you'd change your fucking salon. But then again, Tony is, or whoever. I wonder if there are some people who become important later, like these two women named Kim. I wonder if one of them might be the cause. I can't remember. And so then we see this scene. It's very quick. I don't know if you noticed this. Caroline says to Jacqueline, she says, you know who you're hurting? You're hurting my parents. Did you see that?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
What? What? And then so Jacqueline says it's hard to choose sides. And then her end cap here is very happy. Jacqueline and Chris are expecting baby number 3, and the pregnancy has brought the baby closer. Sorry. The pregnancy has brought the family closer together again. So.
Yay.
Yeah.
What's that hurting my parents, though? Like, I don't, like,
yeah,
are you a little old to still be living for your parents' reputation?
Yeah, and I don't know that there was anything that Jacqueline did. I guess if there is something that was hurting her parents, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. But you know what I can't wait for? I can't wait to see this all come out in the reunion. I love the reunions. I love when people face off with each other. I fucking love that. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to seeing some of the lost footage. Yep. Seeing some of those extended scenes. It's always great to get all that extra cringe in. Yeah.
And I just love how Andy handles the reunion. He's just such a master. He really is.
He is. He can be, lately he can be, he's become more biased, I think so. In the last few years. But early on, I think he was really good. And I do love how he handles Teresa. Yep. So it should be really fun. But before we move on, let's get to our categories, which, is my favorite part of the pod. We have our categories here. We have 3 categories. They're my faves. Let's start at the top, which is at Cringe Mountain. So what for you was the scene with the most cringe, Michelle? What's your nomination?
When Danielle was showing her kids those pictures, and I think it was it Christine? Yes. Christina? The look on her face, like it was, what was she looking at? Someone hanging?
Her mother's hairy 70s bush, probably.
Yeah, I think so, right? She was probably no, it's not hairy now. Why was it so hairy then? And am I going to get that hairy?
Good one. My nominee is Lexi in her creepy baby voice talking about her boobs and her mother's boobs. So gross. So gross, Lexi. All right. Fashion disaster, Michelle. What was the most disastrous bit of fashion?
In the opening scene in the brown house, the brown kitchen. Excuse me. Dina has the worst clothes. She's got like that stupid flowy baby doll top in those low slung, early aughts jeans.
Very low rise.
Very low rise, and they're like tight on the thigh, and they like flare out at the bottom. And with
low rise boot cut, bitch.
Yeah, with sandals or whatever, and like her toes just stick out. I can't stand that. Yeah. What was yours?
Mine was, and listen, I really even struggle. I struggle to say this to you. I don't want to do it because I love him so much. And he was so sweet in this and so great. But when Chris was giving Ashley the car, he was wearing the worst brown shirt. Yep. It was so bad. I wanted to look at Jacqueline and go, help him out. He's so cute.
And then he had like the big sweat stain in the back.
Oh my God. And like he, who he was dressed like? He was dressed like Uncle Eddie on National Lampoon's Vacation.
Oh yes. Oh, that's so funny.
Like Randy Quaid in National Lampoon's Vacation. And Chris is very cute. So I think it was criminal of Jacqueline to let him out of the fucking house and on camera like that. Yeah. Jacqueline went down a peg for me. And then number 1, Here, kiddo, who won the episode for you? What was your nomination?
I think Teresa. I think she fucking came out of Daenerys's dinosaur egg there, and yeah, that's
Dracarys.
it.
She just kept saying Dracarys.
Don't wake the dragon. Don't wake the dragon. Someone woke the fucking dragon, and yeah.
I agree.
It lives.
I agree. That was mine too. I think that, not only did we like really activate Teresa, it's like literally like we found the code, boop, boop, beep, beep, beep.
Totally.
And now we have activated Teresa, or we've unlocked her power. We've like powered her up.
Yeah.
But I also feel like what we're doing now is like seeing a situation where this scene, what we just basically recapped for the last 2 days, this particular scene is the reason why she has this incredible longevity. She's one of the few people to have been with a franchise. I think she's the longest running. Yeah. Now that Vicky is gone from OC, Teresa is the longest running housewife. And the only thing that interrupted her continuous run was, of course, her unfortunate
jail time.
Yeah. As Anthony used to say on Designing Women, her unfortunate incarceration. The unfortunate incarceration of
she
Teresa.
had to know about the business.
That's a good porn movie name, The Unfortunate Incarceration of Teresa Giudice.
Oh yeah.
Sounds like a 70s porn.
Oh yeah, like Harry Bush there, right?
Yeah.
Sweaty balls. Sweaty hairy balls.
Sweaty balls. Oh, this is
the guards in the jail, right?
Yep. We're just getting started, Michelle. We are hurtling towards the conclusion of this. We're super excited to continue this, guys. Thank you so much to all of our friends and family, everyone who has listened and shared. We've just passed 1,500 downloads, and we're very, very grateful. We really appreciate it.
Nice.
We'd also love it if you guys could get a moment, if you haven't already, to drop us a review in Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you are listening to this pod.
And also click on that follow.
Yes. Press the follow button. Clickety click, click.
We'll just show up.
Yes, and then it just magically. Yes.
Yeah.
As soon as we drop a new episode, it will magically appear in your feed.
Yeah.
So we are looking forward to you guys joining us next time. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Pure Cringe Podcast. Michelle, this was so fun.
This was fun. This has been a good one. I'm looking forward to breaking down the rest of them.
All right, let's do it soon. All right, thanks everybody, and don't forget, be kind, because what, Michelle?
Anyone can be a cunt.
That's
right.
We
saw a lot of it. We just saw a lot of it.
We just saw some
just cunt central. Just crawling.
Just be nice,
cunts.
guys. Be
Shower
nice.
of cunts. Yeah.
We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.